For sale by owner, or FSBO as we like to call them in the industry. Today I want to talk about the ins, the outs, the good, bad, and ugly of everything for sale by owner. Honestly, if you can use a real estate agent to either buy or sell your home, I still very strongly recommend it. Real estate agents, they are professionals at what they do, just like a loan officer is professional at doing the loan. There's a lot of things that can go into it. A lot of legal things, property rights, taxes. Like I said, if you can, always use a real estate agent to buy or sell. But in those one-off rare situations where you have a for sale by owner, there's some good things you need to know. So I want to talk about those things today. So for sale by owner, it's pretty self-explanatory. It basically is someone selling their home. They're not using a real estate agent or any third party to help them sell it. They're going straight to consumers. So the easiest way to think about this is, let's say you have a car, you want to sell your car. Instead of going through the dealership or anything like that, you just try to find someone to buy it straight up. So similar situation with a house, except there's obviously a lot more that goes into it. Basically, we've got a seller selling their house for a set price. So when you don't have a real estate agent on your side, you basically have to deal with the negotiation piece, right? The negotiation is between the two of you, so you can't really seek any expert advice as far as the negotiation piece. There are scenarios, let's say you have a family member or a close relative or friend that wants to sell their house. You guys already have an agreed upon price, and you're going to go ahead and get it sold. Now what, right? What are the next steps? Because that's something I get a lot. If you can't buy that house in cash, you're going to need to get it financed. Those are some things that I can help with. So just throwing that out there for those of you that are looking at a for sale by owner situation. For whatever reason, I do a lot of these every single month. I have people that come to me that say, hey, my brother wants to sell me his house, or I have my neighbor, a couple of doors down that wants to sell their place and I agreed to buy it for this price. What do I do now? Number one, you got to get a contract. We got to get a purchase contract. I can't start anything with the loan process until I have an executed purchase contract. So what does executed purchase contract mean? These are the terms that you've decided on. We're going to sell the house. You're going to buy the house for $400,000. They've agreed upon that, and we're going to close on such and such date. So those are the terms, right? So we would need a contract that drafts that up. In this particular scenario, what we do is we call them escrow instructions. So we still have to have a title company. There's no way around using a title company to help facilitate this process. What the title company is going to do is they're going to be that third party that's going to help make sure that the ownership is transferred from the seller to the buyer, that there's, no extra liens or things on the property, that when you buy it, the only loan on it is the loan that you're getting for it. That way there's not a bunch of extra liens or extra money you'd have to come up with after the fact. So that is why we need a title company. So the title company can help us establish these escrow instructions, or the contract again. So setting the price. I want to take a step back real fast. So regarding a for sale by owner, let's say you found a house, it's for sale by owner, they're not using a real estate agent. If you as a buyer already have a real estate agent helping you search for homes, they can still go in and negotiate that property for you. So don't let that deter you. I've had several situations where they're like, oh, this one's for sale by owner, so we can't look at it. Not true. Your real estate agent can still go in and talk to that seller and negotiate a price, and then they'll actually negotiate their commission directly with the seller. Worst case scenario, the seller doesn't agree to any of that. They can ask the buyer to pay their commission as well. So just something to keep in mind. Don't let a for sale by owner property deter you if you are working with a real estate agent currently. But again, today's situation, we're talking about not a real estate agent involved. We have a seller, we have a buyer. What do we do next, right? So we've discussed, we need the contract. Got to have that contract. I can't do anything on the loan side until I have that done, which means I can't order an appraisal, which is going to be required in most cases if you're getting a loan. We still need regular documents. I got to make you qualify. We're going to pull in the taxes. You got to get property insurance, all the things you would get with a normal purchase, right? The difference is we don't have that real estate agent to help us out. We also have closing costs, guys. And if you remember from previous videos, closing costs cannot be rolled into the loan. Again, unless it's USTA and the appraisal comes in higher, but more on that on a separate video. Closing costs themselves, they got to be paid for by somebody, either the seller or the buyer. Again, when there's no real estate agent involved, you guys need to determine this between the seller and the buyer. You have to figure it out amongst yourselves. I cannot guide you. You can't ask for anyone else's help. I get that question a lot. Well, what normally happens? I've seen everything, right? I've seen the seller pay all the closing costs. I've seen the buyer pay all the closing costs. I've seen it split down the middle. So you guys can figure that out. But again, when there's no real estate agent involved, those are the things that you're going to need to know about. Closing costs are going to be the combination of your loan fees, the title fees, as well as any prepaid fees to set up the escrow account and like interest and things like that. So a combination of all of those things. Again, there's always going to be some things that they're going to be paid for by the seller regardless, as well as, you know, the loan fees and everything else, which if you're the one getting the loan, you have the loan fees. But again, they are negotiable. They are technically part of the closing costs. So that is something the seller could pay for if they agree to it. Typically, when you're using a real estate agent to help you buy a home, and you first go under contract, which means you've determined I'm going to buy it for this price. The seller's agreed to sell it to you for that same price. You enter your inspection period. That's not a thing with for sale by owners. There's not an inspection period because we're not using the standard, you know, Arizona real estate form when it comes to the purchase contract itself. So it's up to you if you want to get home inspections done. You can go in and do that. But again, it's also up to the seller. There's going to be people entering their home. You need to let them know if you're going to have a home inspection. Now, a home inspection is different than an appraisal. A home inspection will tell you things that might be wrong with the house, such as, does it have termites? Is the foundation crumbling? Is there peeling paint? Electrical, plumbing, all that type of stuff. That's what a home inspection is going to tell you. We don't require one on the loan side. We're never going to ask for a home inspection. In fact, we don't want to see the home inspection. So if you choose to do that on a for sale by owner, it's on you. You're going to have to find the home inspector yourself. If you choose not to, you save money, but you have risks as far as you don't know what may or may not be lurking inside that home. Now, appraisals, that is separate than the inspection. That is typically what we require as lenders. This tells the lender how much the home is worth. We have to make sure that the amount that you're borrowing for it is going to be up there with what it actually is worth. If you're trying to buy a house from a friend for $500,000 and it's only worth $200,000, we're going to find out with that appraisal. So that's why we need one. Now, I want to talk a little bit about if you are buying from a family member, because there are a few different rules. If you're buying from a direct family member, such as brother, sister, mom or dad, son, daughter. Let's say I'm going to buy a house from my brother. The equity in that home can actually be gifted. So instead of me having to come up with a down payment like I would with a standard loan, he can gift me that equity so that I don't have to do that. It's called a gift of equity, just like a regular gift of money, except the equity is built in. So the only difference in that case is you can't set the sales price for the same value, because then obviously there is no equity to be used. So say that again. You can't set the price the same as the value if equity is going to be gifted. So, for example, let's say the house is worth $300,000. I'm going to buy it for $200,000. We have $100,000 in equity that can be gifted in that particular scenario. So again, instead of me having to do a down payment, that equity could be gifted as long as it's from a family member. So pretty cool stuff. That is an option to help everybody not exchange actual funds, right? For like a down payment and closing costs and things. The appraisal itself, let's go back to that. So the appraisal itself, let's say the value does come in lower than what you agreed to pay for it. Now what, right? We don't have a real estate agent to help renegotiate that. Well, here are your choices. Number one, you can go back to the seller and ask them to lower the sales price. If they agree, we're right back on track. We drop the sales price to the value, we move forward. Number two, they do not agree. That means you have to come up with the difference. So if the appraisal came in $15,000 less than what the value is and the seller is unwilling to lower that sales price to that value, you have to bring in that difference on top of your regular down payment and on top of the regular closing costs, which were pre-negotiated by you and the seller. So also something to think about. Now, let's say you don't have the extra funds to come in and the seller doesn't want to bring the cost down. Well, in that case, we'd cancel the contract or cancel the escrow instructions. We move on with our lives. So those are your three choices. But again, when you're not dealing with a real estate agent, you don't have someone to go in and negotiate you or give you advice with those types of things. So again, I always endorse a real estate agent to be used with these types of transactions. But again, on the rare situations when you just absolutely don't need one or you don't want to use one, I can help with that process. Again, I'll help with the contract. We'll order the appraisal on our side. The appraisal will have to go directly to the seller. The appraiser will talk to talk to the seller as far as when they're going to go visit the home and inspect the property. And then obviously, then it's just a standard loan practice after that. Any particular type of loan can be used with a for sale by owner. It's still free game as far as that goes. Conventional, FHA, even down payment assistance, USDA, VA, all these loan types can be used on for sale by owner. Again, every situation is unique. If you want to find out what you can qualify for, you already know who to call because you're watching my channel. That's pretty much it with the for sale by owner, guys. They can be really simple. They can be really crazy depending on the relationship that you have with the seller. So again, if you do know someone, or if you're in this situation and you want to buy a house, or you want to sell it to so-and-so, but you don't know where to start, give me a call. I can walk you through all the steps. We kind of went through most of them today via video, but if you need help setting any of that up, getting in touch with the title company, getting the signatures on the contract, getting the loan process started, that's something I'd be happy to help with. So I hope this was useful for you guys. If you have any other questions regarding this or want to learn more regarding for sale by owner, hit me up in the comments. And as always, like and subscribe. Guys, have a great day. Thanks.